Welcome back. Before we start with the competences and skills, and before I introduce Professor Kassler, I have to announce a little change in our program. We will have not the parallel session of these keynotes and the workshop afterwards. No, we just continue till the poster session now with the keynote speakers step by step. We finished this meeting with René from Schomberg today. And afterwards, during the poster session, we will have the workshops, the workshops on values. Some of you have registered for that. Okay, so we will not have a break after this session. We will continue with this final keynote speakers, very interesting speakers, and afterwards we split. We have the poster session, but some go to the workshop and come back to the poster session also. Okay? Good. So, and now we start with this session regarding competences, and Andreas Kassler, he is professor at the Karlstad University. He is also advisory board member for the DigiTeRRI Project. He is the head of the Center for Digital Adaptive Manufacturing for Industry 5.0. And I'm very happy that you are here and you took over to lead this session. Please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne. I'm very happy to be here in this beautiful city in Vienna. At this beautiful weather. I just heard today in Hagfors, -3 degrees, when I was calling my friend. So we all can enjoy a little nice weather here with a very excellent, good workshop. And we talk today on competences and skills for responsible digitalization. And I have with me okay. And we have here with us today 3 distinguished panel participants. And I'm very happy to introduce Ahmed Nasrullah from Moelven. He is a development engineer there since 2020, and he was a trainee before. And I really admire Ahmed because he is one of the masters of the universe, because he is managing Moelven's digital infrastructure, which is big data, cloud, machine learning, and has all these skills and competencies that everybody needs in this digital transformation. And before that, I learned his quality. He was working as quality assistant for a snus company, which is very specific, Swedish product, where he was responsible for the education and the internal trainee activities. Then also we have with us Caroline Porot from 42 Mulhus. Yes, I'm not 24. Exactly. And she is a directrice there, and she was chief digital officer at the Region Grand Est before. And she was also responsible for the smart specialization strategy. And also we have with us Martina Maurer from AMS Österreich. She is working for the Public Employment Service Austria, and she is a deputy head of the Department Labor Market Politics for Women in Austria. And she's also the quality ombud for employees there. And I would like to give the floor to, I think the first presentation is given by Ahmed. Press again. Yes.
Yes, it is mine. It is mine. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me here. And I see many established people here. Andreas came before, and asked me, Ahmed, how should I introduce you? And I told him, you can introduce me however you want. You can even introduce me as a crazy immigrant. That was a joke. No, but I joke quite a lot, so it might be so that it doesn't always hit home. We are talking about digital competency, and I think it's always good to talk a little bit about the background. And I come from Afghanistan, so I came to Sweden when I was 12 years old, and the digital leap there for me is quite high as well, and it's always good to see and have that background. Jean-Jacques was here before, and he was like, I'm French, I might be a little bit late, but my response to that is, I'm Afghan, I'm really late. I also, once again, thank Eamon for being crazy enough to invite me again. I was talking in Karlstad in Värmland before some time. I work for Moelven. Moelven is a wood industry. We work with everything from the log to the end product. And I have 10 minutes, and I have a tendency of going over time, so I'm waiting for your cards. But let me introduce Moelven a little, so you guys know what we work with. Yeah, so we are a Scandinavian wood producing company. We are quite big in Scandinavia, 3,400 employees almost. And as you can see, the diversity is not that good. We have a lot of men, old men, and few women and few people like me. So I try to be as politically correct as possible, but it doesn't happen that often. And they're still crazy enough to let me out. So I'm talking. I will try to go over. So sorry, Moelven, if somebody from Moelven is here, I will just go fast over these slides because that's just a company, and I'm supposed to talk about competence. But we try to be an innovative company in technology, but also in product building. We have in Moelv in Norway, near Brumunddal, the world's largest wooden building. Everything is in wood. We try to push the boundaries all the time. We have divisions, boring. And we try to work a lot, as I said, with innovation and digitalization, because we see that this is where the next thing is, and that is where we can create even further value. Again, boring and boring, but it shows a little bit the material we are working with, and I'm quite proud of working with a sustainable material, which is really, really in, because we are trying to be more green, more environmental. Yeah, so which kind of competence and skills do we need? And I thought of going a little bit and talk about, because there are a lot of researchers here and a lot of big names, and I wanted to see, in a company like Moelven, we have been working closely with research institutes, and we try to do a lot of, try to be ahead. But we also have a lot of stakeholders, right? And they want to see, okay, these research projects, these are cool, but what can you guys do with it? How can you create value, and how can we, in the end, even if it sounds boring, but how can we make money of this? Because that's the goal for all the companies. So the leap between research and industrialization, many have spoken about it, but we have experienced it. It's a big leap. It's really, really fun to talk about. It's really good and important to innovate and be state of the art, but it's really hard, as we saw, to industrialize these solutions. We have been working with the digital sawmill, the smart digital sawmill, since 2016. That was a research project together with state-financed Vinnova in Sweden, and a lot of our suppliers, and RISE, which is the Research Institute of Sweden. And we had quite ambitious goals at that time. By working with big data, we were supposed to increase efficiency by 15%, product value by 10%, and reduce energy consumption by 10% in 2016. That project became quite big because we worked a lot with different stuff in that project. We came to a conclusion that in the sawmill or the wooden industry, we have a big challenge. And that big challenge for us is traceability. And what I mean with traceability is that, for example, in automotive industry, you have a natural traceability, right? You know this product is from here and there, and you just put it together. I'm simply making it simple, but we get a lot of logs, and then we lose fully the trace of these logs, and then we get some planks and boards in the end, and then we are like, yeah, but how do we optimize the production? So that was the focus in this project. So we worked a lot with we got some innovations, we created some innovations, patented, and so on and so on. But we had also a lot of challenges. We had a lot of challenges when it came to technology. We tested so many different technology platforms, and we tested organizations. And it was quite hard for us to get a good baseline together with them. At one time, we were also brave enough, or some said to me after stupid enough, try to create a DevOps platform in Moelven ourselves. But the biggest potential and challenge, as I said, is relationship between data and traceability. Because if we can create relationship between the systems, the products, then we can optimize the product as much as possible. But, as I said again, the industrialization, that is the hard part. So how do we deliver the industrial digital sawmill today? And in the end, I'm going to talk about competence, right? First of all, we came to the conclusion that we need to have, after 6 years, a clear and concise vision with what we want to do with data. And we came with a industrial data vision. So we need to enable operational process improvements with the data we have. And that we can do only if we organize and structure data in a smart way so it's accessible for anybody. So if Andreas wants to come and create an awesome machine learning model for us, we need to have that data ready, and we need to have it clean so he can just do the job. Because otherwise, 90% of the job is doing the dirty work, which is cleaning. We often saw, and these are our own landmines, right? That's what we have stepped on and failed. Many people, when they talk about digitalization, they say technology. Some people say start with solving business problems. Some people say start from the humans and then try to solve the other parts. But we say that many start with technology, Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0, that's cool, that's awesome. And somehow we lose the essence of it. Many people start with solving business problem, but then we forget the humans. And there are very, very few people who start working with humans. What are the challenges? I have 3 minutes. So we came up with a plan on how to connect all of this stuff. We need to have focus on humans, and we need to create. We need to have the technology, as it was said in the beginning. It needs to be in background, but it needs to be there, and it's really important. So what we do is, and these are the projects we are running right now, and we think we have a good template on how to do this stuff. We have scaled it to several operations. What we do always before starting an industrial project or going towards Industry 4.0 on a site is start with the operators. Start with the operators. What are the problem areas, or what are the opportunities and ask the people who work down with those stuff. Because I can come and talk about many cool stuff, but those are just cool stuff. So we always now, that's our strategy, start with the operators and see which challenges are there. And the goal with these kind of workshops, I'm showing these pictures because they are real pictures from these kind of workshops. The goal with these are that we get to a place where we can get priority areas, right? So we say, yeah, these are the most important stuff, and these are low-hanging fruit in order for us to implement the technology, but also get efficiency in the production. So we can go to our stakeholders and say, look, we can make a 2% improvement on this. And suddenly, technology is really, really cool. We are also working really, really hard with something industry-led. Many of you guys might know they have lean and lean boards. So what we have done is make that digital, right? Because it takes a lot of time for people to gather data and then put it on daily control. So what we have done is that we have automated this. So when they come in a new shift and talk about improvements, everything is already there. The data is available, and the operators can stand directly and say, okay, this is what we need to do. And we also break barriers with this, because this tool is connected directly to all the organizations. So when an operator comes to a meeting, he can say, yeah, I have an issue with this thing, and nobody has helped me. I want to create this issue and escalate it to the CEO. And you can see it on that board, that he can escalate it, and the CEO will get a mail and say, in the same board, oh, I need to fix this. So somehow we make managers not so important, which is quite fun. So we implement the technology based on operators, but we still need to train them. We still need to work with them on working with improvements and working with data. So in that we have a education plan or support plan, which is called Goda frågor i goda rum, which is in Swedish, good questions in good rooms. We try to avoid as much as possible the thing which we have experienced many consultants do, which is fly in and fly out, right? So we need to create a baseline where we can focus hard on putting a data culture based on the needs of the operations. AI, also really, really cool, but how do you give it to production? How do you make it a thing which is really used by production people? What we do is that we were working with some data scientists, and they made really, really cool AI models, and those were so complicated for the operators. They were like, yeah, we are not going to do that. So we need to somehow, once again, tackle that problem from the operator's perspective. So we created AI tools which works for the operators and which simplifies them, their work in every day. Because our goal is always this, that if an operator is going to do something, it needs to be easier than what it was before. So AI for all, that's our vision, and we are working, this is a model which is somehow helping the operators. I can go into it. I have 0 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ahmed, for the very inspiring talk. I like your slides about Afghanistan. Yeah. That was very interesting to introduce the challenge of data, because depending on how you look at things, things look different, and you can make different conclusions. That was also something very interesting. Martina, she will introduce labor market politics for women. Please.
Okay. Thank you very much. The same question of size. Well, hello and welcome also from my part, and thank you very much for the conference today. Actually, I've learned already something this morning. I didn't know what RRI was standing for, and now I actually know that we do quite a lot of RRI within our company, so I'm quite happy about that. And thank you a lot that I have the opportunity to bring in the gender perspective when it comes to digital competencies and what is necessary to support especially women entering other fields of labor. And I wouldn't be from a public employment service if I wouldn't start with a glance on the labor market, even though it's going to be a really short one. And I want to say that after the recession due to the corona crisis, we do see a really tremendous performance of the labor market. We haven't seen such a switch between recession and economic boom within the last years as we've seen it, especially 2021 and 2022. But it brings us to a very specific situation that we do have a really low unemployment rate, the lowest since 2008 with Lehman Brothers, as you can remember, the finance crisis. So we have a really low unemployment rate, which brings us to a really low or a labor market shortage. So there is an urgent need for the companies to bring in labor force in all the branches. So it's not just in the digital realm or in the industry, it's in all the branches, from health sector to education, preschool, it's tourism and so forth. But of course, besides this, and that's been before, that the companies need specified labor force that have very specific knowledge on digitalization. So we see there is a mismatch of the skills of employees and also unemployed people and the demand of the companies. So there, of course, there is different strategies how to bridge this gap between the demands of a company and the supply on the labor market. And one way, and there are very different ways of the countries how to manage this, but one way is the improvement of access to the labor market when it comes to migration of people with specific skills. Another one, of course, each company tries right now to win the potential by really we see the readapting of working conditions and bringing up benefits for employees. And of course, what we now see, and this is very positive from a gender perspective or an equality perspective, that they open up their recruitment for diversity. And it's not just about bringing women, but it's like the whole bunch of, people not knowing, having the highest level of knowledge on German, but it's also about, altogether people with migrant background, or changing their policy when it comes to LGBTIQ. So there is quite a change within, the self-understanding of companies. And of course, and there we really come to the skills itself, it's about training and retraining of employees, but also of unemployed people. So what we see there are changes in the job profiles when it comes to digitalization, and that means that there is a need of adapting competences and skills. There is a need for educational changing of the education. So it's about an adjustment of the educational contents within all the trainings that we've been having so far. And then there is another part we have to think about. It's about the horizontal segregation, overcoming the gap. More women are working still in traditional female areas and not so much in the other areas. You've said it before, you have quite a low number of women working in your company, and we still see it in all the countries, even in the north, where we see that actually when it comes to gender equality, we know the northern countries are already much further than the Central European countries. So it's about qualification of women in non-traditional branches. And what are we doing as a public employment service? We start in both parts. On the one hand, we start with, when it comes to the educational contents of our trainings, but we also have specific labor market programs for women. And I want to say that we have 3 different ones with 3 different target groups. One of them is to bring women into craft and technical profession. There's another program to help and support women re-entering the labor market after maternal break. In Austria and Germany, we have quite a long break of maternity, and it's so they need special support when it comes to this. And then a third one is vocational centers for women, where it's especially about evaluating the competencies and making career counseling. And I want to go into just one of the three, because I think for today it's the most important one. It's the one about women bringing into craft and technical professions, so to overcome this gap and of horizontal segregation at the labor market. And what we see for women, that it's very important to have some kind of onboarding process before they start really qualification in technique. That has to do that a lot of them have quite a low self-esteem when it comes to mathematics technique, due to socialization and so on. So as an entrance, we have a vocational orientation, and also, if necessary, we offer the opportunity of a technical pre-qualification. And in those two, we have especially implemented the question of the digital competences. And it's quite, I want to pick up what where you say from the KM0 said, it's a program not for the well-educated women. It's really a program for women, older women, migrant women, women with low educational background, and I want to stress it because I think it's quite unique. They have the opportunity to get a qualification up to apprenticeship and up to even up to college. And what we also see, it's important to have a case management, a guidance, even till they enter the company itself. That's the other two, if you're interested. I don't know if the people get the slide. Okay. And when it comes to the digital competences, what have we done? Of course, all our educational institutes do get a framework, and the framework for the digital competences is the DigCom 2.2. I guess most of the people in this room know it. And plus, of course, everybody can read it on the area from the European Commission. So I don't read it because you can read it on the homepage from the European Commission. But I just want to bring a few examples how the Educational Institute do take these standards and use it in practice. And for one example, they have a robot, it's called Roberta, and Roberta, they can program it. So it's really a hands-on training. It's really making the women interested to get into this area. Of course, they get training in coding, but it's also when it comes to dwelling, that they can dwell digitally, or you make video applications. How to, if I apply and make an online application, how can I make such a video? So it's really what, I see the sign, what they can actually use for their job applications. It's about filtering news, it's about media design. So there's a lot they can do to actually experience, am I interested or not? And it's hands-on, that's what I really want to stress, to bring women getting interested in bringing them into the field. And last but not least, it's not on the slide, it's not been my point, but I want to take up the question of digital collaboration of ecosystems, because as a public employment service, as an authority, of course, our data, we are quite connected with so many other authorities and institutions. And right now, I just want to say, we're not any longer talking about dichotomy when it comes to men and women, but we also have non-binary persons. So it's very exciting right now, the change of this data connection when it comes to adding more gender. And we see how important it is, this interlink between the data, that it really functions well, that all the applications change at the same time, otherwise they can't communicate. And I think it's a really interesting time right now to see if it really works. Thank you very much for my part.
So thank you, Martina. And I would like to invite Caroline now. I think they found your slides. Let me see.
It was on me because my slides were twisted. So let's start again. Just like this. Okay. Non, mince, alors même du coup ça va trop vite. Comment je fais pour reward? It goes too fast.
I don't know how to go backwards. Pardon?
Yes. Okay. The first thing I wanted to show you, I mixed two slides, but it doesn't matter, it's France, and it shows two things about the post-COVID era. IT is everywhere, and software is still eating the world. You see the two different figures. The first one is the recruitment goals for the companies, from the big companies. PE are the big companies and TPE are the small one. How many people they need in the IT field. The other one, the card, the map, is about how much companies invested in IT after COVID. And when it's deep blue, it means it's more than 60% of the companies of the country. So what we can say is that we absolutely need a way to train people for IT. And we know that the regular academic ways are not enough. Because universities and schools cannot train all the people companies need for their IT programs. Okay, I try to do it slow. So what can we do in the Grand Est region where I'm from? I'm from Mulhouse in Alsace, near Germany and Switzerland. We opened a school which is called 42 Mulhouse. It's school belongs to a network of 47 campuses in the world. So there is 42 Mulhouse, but there is 42 Tokyo, there is 42 Adelaide, there is 42 Paris, there is 42 Vienna, just opened, and I'm going to visit tomorrow. And what we do is we try to train people who cannot go in IT programs in school and universities. So it's a computer science school. It's a project-based pedagogy with no teacher, no class, no hours. It's open 24 hours and 7 days, so 365 days a year. It never closes. So they can come when they want, and they work when they want, when they can. The school is free. We have the public sector who give us money and companies, and well, it's free, so it's easy for everyone to come. It's an access to all. So we have a real diversity program. There is no diploma or degree required. We don't care about what they've done before, if they were good at maths, or good at English, or good at French, or anything. What we look is what they want to do now. Do they want to train and try to learn how to code? Will they work enough to do this? And the only thing for us is the motivation, not the past. And the last thing, we have people from 18. There is no age limit. When I say 18, it's not totally true, because I have a student who is 14, but he has his high school diploma, so he has 3 years in advance, and we had to take him because he's so good. But we have many senior. My students, I have 200 students now, and they have from 18 to 55. So with prior work experience. So what they learn in this kind of school is coding and everything with data, AI, cybersecurity, everything which is needed, but they work together all the time. They have to learn together because there are no teachers. So there are no teachers, and at the same time, they are all teachers to each other. And you can see just on the photo, my 2 students, they need to understand something, so explain to each other. So it's a kind of school where you cannot do things by yourself. You have to do it with other people, which is a very good way to train them. And when they go to companies after, for them it's only natural. I mean, they don't have to say they have team spirit, because if they don't have team spirit, they cannot learn in 42 school. What do they learn? They learn, I said, everything. We have a core curriculum. The same projects for everybody. It comes from the center to the external circle. It lasts between 8 to 18 months, because everybody can work at his own pace. Some are very fast. Some finished, some of my best students, they finished the core curriculum in 6 months and 18 days. And some will need 1 year, and some will need 18 months. Doesn't matter. The thing is, they learn, they understand what they do, and at the end, they are learning by doing, so they know what to do when they are ready to go to work. After the core curriculum, after the blue circles, they can go on internship. It's not compulsory, but it's better. And most of the time, the companies try to hire them, because they are fast learners. So normally for companies, it's okay for them to hire them now, or if they want more specific skills, they can go on specialization. It's all the branches, the small branches, and you have web, IA, security. You can choose. You can do 1 or 2 or 3, just as you want. 3 minutes, okay? I will finish. The thing is, they learn what they need to learn, what they want to learn, and most important, they learn to learn, because we know now that in a professional life, we have to learn all the time. And for coders, for programming languages, is very important, because they move fast. We have 700 languages, and sometimes you have to switch between 2. So it works well. I have 200 students. What I need now is trust, support, and open-minded companies that come to me and don't say, what did they do before? Did they go to university? Do they have a master? Or no, they don't have a master. I don't care. They know how to code. They are very good workers. So trust them, try them, and change your mind. Because, you know, the best students in my school are the fastest. So they don't have to stay 5 years in school to learn. If they stay 6 months, it's because they are better than the others, faster. And I think it's okay.
Thank you, Caroline. To finish this session, we have some short panel discussion among our 3 distinguished speakers, and we identified some questions. We have heard already some answers, and I wanted from some of them, and I wanted to ask the others what they think also. So we have heard from Caroline a few examples, but I would like to ask Ahmed, from your point of view, what key competences and skills do you want to lift that you think are important in relation to the digitalization at the company's workplace of the futures? Can you give some more examples, or do you have similar examples? And would you think this is different for different industrial sectors?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I have to fully agree with you. I think we need to be focusing a lot on people who are willing to learn. And if it comes to, let's say, in our industry, we try to not care about education in that sense. We try to go to the operators and see which people are interested and who are willing to learn. So I think willingness to learn is one of the most important thing, if not the most important thing for us. And that's what we try to push on in our company as well.
Okay. Martina, do you want to have some of the examples, competencies?
Yeah, what we see that it's quite a broad knowledge that the people need to learn, and it's not just to focus on specific areas of the companies. It's really the whole branch. It's when it comes to also acting out civil rights, how to use the cell phone signature. It's in this whole area of securing the own laptop, the access to the cell phones. So it's not just the specific area within the company, but it's quite a really, really broad basis. They need to know also to not fear of learning new things within the digital realm.
Thank you. And maybe there is two kind of people. Some people that work already for a long time at the companies, and there is new talent that the companies are hiring. So for the people who are working at companies since several years, like these operators, that you made the example, who are maybe trained 3-4 years and to operate these machines, and then they get all this new digitalization put on them. So what challenges do you see for acquiring those competences that are there for the existing staff, Ahmed? And how can we solve these challenges, or how can we make it easier for them to get these competences that are needed for them to survive this digital transformation at the companies that's happening?
Also, again, a really good question, because I think technology is the backbone for this thing, but we need to always focus on the people who are working with the technology. So what we try to focus on is to somehow enable the operators who have been in our industry. We have operators who have been working there 35 years, right? And they have this immense knowledge of the industry. At the same time, people might think that they will be often scared when it comes to new technology and so on and so on. But I don't think so. I think we have a unique opportunity here to help them do less of the boring stuff and take that technology and use it to improve their everyday and give them that incentive. So it's really important for us to try to help the generation who have been working there 25, 35 years and create solutions which works best for them.
Caroline, do you want to add? Or what challenges are there for staff that is working long time in companies and now they undergo this digital transformation? Because you have a mixed group that you mentioned. You have people from 18 to 55. Do you see there are specific challenges for the older people than compared to the new one that are first time in the market?
No, not really. The funny thing is it's very rare to see in a school people who work together, and one can be the father and one can be the son. I mean, and they're just the same students. There is no age difference when they work together. And youngers are faster and they understand like this sometimes, but the older, they have more experience and they are more patient. So it's sometimes easier for them to accept to fail and to retry and try. But from another perspective, I worked for a public sector before the school, and what I see is digital transformation is frightful for many people. It's not, I mean, total happiness. It's not true. And what you must do, I think, with humans, with the people, is to understand their fear. To understand that it's not easy for them because people don't like change. It's not true. The people who like change, there are so few. So the first thing is to understand the fear and to make people express their fear about digital transformation. Not to talk about technology and to show that they will gain something. Digital has to give them a bonus. They have to save money or time or something. You don't do digital for digital.
Thank you. I have also some question to Martina, and that is maybe also very important for the companies, because we saw in your statistics before that many people are hiring many companies are hiring like crazy. These kind of skills. So what challenges are there for the companies to actually getting this kind of talent that has these competencies that are in need? I mean, if you think about AI skills, for example, well, if you have AI skills, then you can choose among 20, 30 companies. You can go to Google, Amazon, and so on. And maybe some other companies that are smaller maybe are not so interesting. So they may have some challenges to acquire this kind of stuff needed.
Yes, we actually do get a lot of questions from the companies because they really are in lack of people working, especially in this area. So, of course, companies do go specific ways. One of them, of course, is always about payment, especially when it comes to these specialized persons. But of course, it has a lot to do with the working environment and the working condition. So we see a lot of, actually also whole branches like industry, they go the way that they say we have a 4 days week, or all the flexibility of working time, that you can just change your contract from 40 hours to 35 and so on, and changing it quite quickly. Plus, of course, and it's been promoted, of course, with the COVID crisis, it's about home office, to not really always traveling to the workplace, but working wherever you are. It has a lot to do with career planning, that you have like mentoring systems, but it also has to do with your company policy. So are you attractive for people to come? And if people do now expect that a company has policies when it comes to equality, that they are open-minded, that there is a non-tolerance to discrimination, for example. And plus, when it comes to female workers, we see that role models are extremely important to have already in the company, so they are a multiplicator. So there are different ways to go, and actually it's a good development, I think.
Thank you. And Ahmed, how do you see the strategy of Moelven to acquire this new talent that is so important for this digital transformation?
We have seen that when it comes to pay, for example, in this specialized area, it's quite, it's not always about the payment because they can get high payment anywhere when it comes to this branch, right? What we have seen is that we can score points when we offer personal development and give them opportunities to develop and try new stuff and be a little bit innovative. And I think the big companies sometimes might miss that thing. If you're working in Amazon, Google, or whatever, they have quite paved strategies. And I think we can score a lot of points in terms of self-development and give them the area to be creative and innovative and come with new suggestions. So that's somehow our key thing here, I think.
So more flexible in terms of how they can develop themselves, what they see their role in 5 to 10 years at your company, and that maybe is more attractive than if they know they work for Google, they have to do exactly this and that.
Absolutely, and come with suggestions and give them the area and stage to come with ideas which are crazy, but sometimes they are really, really good. So a little bit more freedom and challenging work.
Thank you, Ahmed. And my last question would be, again, let's start with Martina. So we are also running a computer science school, and we see that only few percentage of women start to, take on this computer science education. And this is a key issue because then later on, there's only a very small percentage of of female that are available on the job market that have these digital skills. So we need to change something in our whole education system to increase the number of females that are going towards this direction. So what kind of possibilities or what kind of wish list do you have? Or how would you see what needed to be changed to increase this?
Well, actually, it starts already much earlier. It starts already in childhood, so actually it's the last end to look at. So it's about socialization. It's how is it in the preschool? Are there role models? What kind of toys do girls and boys get? I just want to remember, I know we all know of this, but I still want to stress it at that point. Of course, it has to do with vocational orientation already in school. So about the information of the variety of jobs, we see a lot of girls, they pick up the jobs that the friend of hers is taking. And it's quite persistent. So, and they don't think of the dimension that it has when it comes to life income. And if we have a folder about it, how different it is, your life income, and not just income of the job, but also of retirement. If we all sum up that, you know, there is a difference of $500,000 if you either take the one job or the other. And girls take a decision in profession not thinking about it. So I think it's a lot about information. Of course, I mentioned already role models, and the same thing is up to universities and schools, but also about encouragement, if there are good professors who encourage. And plus also here, it's quite basic, but it has to do with the environment. Because, for example, we have a school that educates young men and women in apprenticeship, and it's more in a traditional area. And they now have an equality ombud, and they change the environment, and it's even about the colors of the wall, and are there some spaces that you know, women can go and gather and talk. So even like really, really basic ones are important if women decide to pick up a specific education.
Yeah, Caroline, I wanted.
If I can just add something, is the issue of the parents as well. Because mothers sometimes tell their daughters, fashion, social, medical, I mean, no, IT, no, it's for boys. You see only boys. Engineer, no, too much work. How can you go and pick your children at school? That's true. I mean, the daughters, they hear things like that. I have two daughters. They're in France. They just managed together without me, because I'm here in Vienna today, and it's okay. I mean, I had a working mom. I am a working mom. And it's very important that the mothers and fathers speak to their children, to boys and girls, in the same way. It's not only toys. It's just, you can do, I mean, sky is the limit for the boy, but also for the girl.
Yeah, and I think what you mentioned is what you mentioned is very important. But also, I would lift one more point from society aspect. So I have a daughter, and when she asked me what should she study, then I said, study computers, or not study, but go to high school, study technique and computer science. And then she said, this is only for nerds. And I don't want to study program with only nerdy guys. Like there is this somehow also in our society, there is this stereotype also that hinders a lot of female to take this study. But on the other hand, if you encourage students, so I think that's important at university. So I had Rebecca Alfredson was studying, so I told her she need to go to Ericsson because she has a bright career, and now she is at Ericsson Research working for standardization. As a good role model and being ambassador for the study program and make this available to many more female, to encourage them that they can have a career that can combine technology with what they want. Okay, so I think let's thank our panel members. And Martina, the rest is clear of the program, or maybe some people joined later, so just...
Yeah, I say it once more. We thank you so much. Thank you so much.